Right, so this question is stating that we've got 450 days. The probability of being late is equal to 0.15, and it's independent of each day. So that would indicate that this is a binomial distribution, because we've got late or not late, we've got a fixed probability. Okay. However, the question then goes on to say, work out the probability that y is greater than an a is approximately 1/16. Now, it's a typical OCR question in as much as there aren't many words. Okay. And you've got to recognise here that because n is large, despite p being not close to 0.5, we can turn this into a normal distribution approximation. Okay, so that's what we've got to do. Okay, so therefore, if we can have a normal distribution, so if our binomial distribution would be 450, 0.15, then in our normal distribution, we've got to obviously have mu and the standard deviation squared, the variance. So to get to that, the formula for that is on the formula sheet. Okay, that x bar equals mu is equal to np is equal to 450 times 0.15, which gets you 67.5. The standard deviation is equal to np times 1 minus p, i.e. the square root of 67.5 times by 0.85, which gives you a standard deviation of that. Okay, so we've got that, which we should be writing down. That's probably a mark for writing that, for showing your parameters. So now we're saying we want the value where it's 1/6, where p is greater than 1/6. Okay, so we've got 67.5, and the probability that a is greater than, so that area is 1/6. Now there's two ways to think about that. Okay, one is to put that into our calculator using the inverse normal button, because we've been given an area. Okay, so the area is 1/6. Okay, and then you putting in our other parameters. Okay, so we've got 1 divided by 6 for the top there. Always easy on these calculators to use division rather than, sorry, trying to get that to show, 1/6. The square root of 57.375 and the mean of 67.5. Okay, so therefore but that is showing a value of 60.172, which would be down here, because your calculator is always working from this end. Okay, so it's worked out the area of that being 1/6. Okay, a probability of 1/6. So to get to that value, we've got to do that subtraction, 67.5, oops, minus 60.172, and then add that on to our mean because of the symmetry of our curve. Okay, so therefore A is equal to 74.8, which you could round to 75. Whoops, sorry, just missing that last bit. Alternatively to that, thinking it like that and getting to that value, you could get to this value straight away, recognising it's going to work from the left-hand end by saying that value of A, this area, is 5/6. Okay, so just going back to that, changing that area to 5 divided by 6. Obviously the rest, your parameters are staying the same, and that gets you to 74.8 again. Okay, so therefore it is still 75. So that is marks the 13 part 1.